Yo, Solo Leveling Season 3, Episode 1 is finally here. We've been waiting for this moment like it's the next big Marvel movie drop. And let me tell you, Jinwoo is back, and this time, he's stronger, scarier, and about to wreck shop in ways you wouldn't believe. We're diving deep into the War of Wars, with brand new enemies, powers, and oh yeah, a whole new level of danger lurking in the shadows. So, buckle up, grab your popcorn, and don't blink, because Jinwoo is about to rise again, and trust me, you won't want to miss this. Alright, so let's set the stage. Jinwoo, still trapped in that ominous red gate, aka the dungeon, finds himself in a whole new type of wilderness. I mean, you ever been in a forest so deep that you start questioning your life choices? Well, that's what Jinwoo's dealing with. Giant trees looming over him like they're ready to drop some shade, and the sound of beasts rustling in the distance, probably planning to make him their next snack. The vibe is eerie as heck, like you're the only person left on Earth, and every monster around you is just waiting for the right moment to pounce. So, after what feels like forever, I mean, we're talking get me out of here kind of time, Jinwoo finally stumbles into an open space. You know, the kind of spot that just screams danger, like, don't walk any further, bro, but we all know Jinwoo doesn't do danger the way we do. He walks right into it. Because why not? And what does he find? A massive monster waiting for him. Seriously, this thing looks like it stepped out of a fantasy novel. It's massive, covered in armor, and is giving Jinwoo the side eye like he just showed up uninvited to a family dinner. Cue the dramatic music. The boss of this dungeon doesn't waste any time. He immediately hits Jinwoo with the "you're the one who killed my people" line. I mean, come on, you're really gonna accuse Jinwoo of that? He's out here making a name for himself, and your monsters just didn't stand a chance. The boss tries to act all tough, calling out Jinwoo for speaking their language like it's some big achievement. But little does he know, Jinwoo's got tricks up his sleeve that he's not even ready for. And then, oh boy, just when you think it's about to be a one-on-one showdown, Jinwoo drops the bombshell. Did you really think I came alone? How cute. Yeah, you heard that right. Jinwoo's been prepping for this fight. With a snap of his fingers, bam, his shadow army comes rushing in like it's a straight-up zombie apocalypse. They're carrying the bodies of the monsters they wiped out earlier, like it's just another day at the office. The dungeon boss is shook. Like, we're talking full-on panic mode. He's like, what the heck is going on? Where's my army? And Jinwoo? Jinwoo's out here grinning like the cat that got the cream. Oh, you thought that was it? Nah. And from that moment on, it's a straight-up brawl. I'm talking chaos. The air is thick with tension, the sound of weapons clashing, monsters roaring in pain. But Jinwoo's army? They're slicing through everything like they've been training for this exact moment. You got high orcs cutting down monsters with surgical precision, and Jinwoo's squad, they're taking hits like they're in a shielded tank, just ripping through anything that tries to come near their leader. Meanwhile, Jinwoo's got the perfect front row seat to this bloodbath, but of course, he's not content to just watch. Nah, Jinwoo's got bigger plans. Just when things start getting spicy, we get a surprise attack from Buu. And I'm not talking about the Dragon Ball Z villain. I'm talking about Jinwoo's literal beast of a soldier who's got the speed to make your head spin. He cuts off the boss's arm in a blink, and the next thing you know, boom, Igris is under him, chopping off the leg like it's some kind of bad sushi. The boss is on the ground now, probably wishing he stayed home. But oh no, Jinwoo's not done yet. Tusk, yep, that's his name, activates some crazy gravity magic, and suddenly, the boss is pinned down like he's in some supernatural wrestling match. And just when you think it can't get worse for this poor guy, Jinwoo's eyes narrow, and the question drops. Answer me, or this gets real painful real quick. The dungeon boss? He's not talking. This guy's got pride, I guess. But honestly, it's his last mistake. Jinwoo, ever the strategist, starts getting frustrated. Why aren't you talking? This is a man on a mission, and he's just trying to get some information. But the system's got other plans, interfering and making sure he doesn't get anything useful. So what does Jinwoo do? He pulls out the key. And I'm not talking about just any key. Nope, this bad boy, it's the key to the Carton Temple. You know, the place where it all started. And the message that pops up, it's clear as day. Jinwoo's going back to where it all began, but this time, things are going to be different. He clenches his fist, and you can almost hear him whispering through gritted teeth. You've messed with the wrong guy. Now we're shifting gears. The scene cuts to America, where some other crazy stuff is happening. Inside a high-level dungeon, a bunch of hunters are trembling in fear, and standing before them, none other than the Frost Monarch. You know, no big deal, just an ice-cold, terrifying monster whose aura alone could freeze you on the spot. And just when you think it can't get worse, enter Yuck Moon, another monster that makes you wish you stayed in bed. He's got that calm, collective vibe like he knows something we don't, and trust me, he does. He's here to tell the Frost Monarch something important about Jinwoo, the Shadow Monarch. And if you've been paying attention, you know things are about to get way more intense. So what's next for Jinwoo? What's the real deal with these monarchs? And just how far is he willing to go to stop the greater threat? Well, we're just getting started, and trust me, this season is about to flip everything you thought you knew about solo leveling. Stay tuned, because it's only going to get crazier from here. Cut to Sunil Hwan, who's not the only one on edge. Sung Jin-Woo's dad is looking like he's ready to snap. With that signature sharp voice of his, he demands, the small eastern plains. You mean Korea? Yuk Moon just smirks, giving him the tiniest of smiles. Why? You curious? But instead of answering, he turns away and says, let's go. I don't have time for pointless fights. The Frost Monarch gives him this smirk. Yeah, he's clearly not having it. Try and catch us if you can. But before they can even make a move, Sunil Hwan's already got his weapon out, looking like he's ready to throw down. Not so fast, he growls. And just like that, the Frost Monarch raises his hand like he's just about to cast a spell. He summons a wall of ice, so solid it could have been made by Elsa herself. Boom! A massive explosion shakes the ground, sending everyone into a frenzy. The air is still vibrating from the roar. Meanwhile, we switch gears back to Jinwoo. After clearing the red gate, he strolls back into his office like he's on vacation, bag full of high-quality monocrystals in hand. Jinho, naturally, is gaping like he's seen a ghost. What is this? He exclaims, unable to believe his eyes. Hung Nim, you're actually a legend. With this, we don't have to stress about paying the workers anymore. Jinwoo frowns. No, seriously. He's confused. Workers? What do you mean by that? Jinho can only grin sheepishly. Did you forget? We need more members to grow the guild. Jinwoo's eyes narrow. Something's off. Wait, before we get to that, have you picked a name for the guild yet? Jinho's face falls. They forgot to name the guild? You're right, we don't have one yet. Jinwoo crosses his arms, thinking for a moment. How about Solo Guild? Jinho nearly chokes on his own spit. Solo Guild? Seriously? You're joking, right? Jinwoo shrugs like it's no big deal. I always fight alone, so it makes sense, doesn't it? Jinho's face turns into a mix of disbelief and pure frustration. Don't act innocent. You're the one who named it. Just then, there's a knock at the door. Jinho jumps up and opens it, only to be met with a voice that could only be described as angelic. Excuse me, is this the guild office of Hunter Sung Jin-Woo? Jinho's jaw hits the floor when he sees who it is. Wait, what? Hunter Cha-Han? Jinwoo turns around, looking genuinely surprised. Miss Cha, what's up? Cha-Han takes a deep breath, looking nervous but determined. I want to join your guild. Jinwoo raises an eyebrow, his confusion obvious. Huh? Did Guildmaster Choi Jong-in kick you out? Cha-Han shakes her head almost too quickly. No, nothing like that. Jinwoo still confused, now more than ever. Then why do you want to join Solo Guild? And here it is. The look on her face says it all. Cha-Han's trying really hard not to burst out laughing, but also totally unsure how to respond. Wait, your guild's really called Solo Guild? Jinwoo nods, nonchalant as always. Yeah, what's wrong with that? Jinho glares at Jinwoo, clearly defeated at this point. You can't be serious, you're the one who named it. Jinwoo just shrugs it off. I figured you stayed quiet, cause you agreed with it, so I went with it. Cha-Han still looks a little unsure, but Jinwoo senses something's up. She's definitely hiding something. Are you sure you want to join? This guild is still in its early stages. We don't have enough resources to recruit someone like you. Cha-Han hesitates, her mind racing with conflicting emotions. What do I say? I just want to be close to him, she thinks, her cheeks flushing bright red. Her mind flashes back to the first time she met Jinwoo, and the feeling of his refreshing scent. Unlike other hunters, she recalls, he didn't reek of that foul stench. That intrigued her, and with every little thing she learned about him, her curiosity grew. When she saw the hateful comments online about him, her intrigue shifted into full-on obsession. And then, when she remembered how he saved her life on Jew Island, her feelings grew even stronger. She had no choice. She was falling for him. Cha-Han's face is completely red now, and she's struggling to even say anything. How can she admit the truth? Meanwhile, Jinwoo senses that something's not right. Why is she so quiet? Why is her face turning red? Is she hiding something? Finally, after a pause that feels like it lasts an eternity, Jinwoo asks again, so, what's your real reason for wanting to join this guild? Cha-Han, still embarrassed beyond belief, finally mumbles in a soft voice. Cha-Hai took a deep breath, her voice steady but filled with intent. Because it's comfortable. This is the first time I've ever felt at ease. So, may I join your guild, Hunter Sung? Jinho, who overheard this, immediately leaned closer to Jinwoo, his eyes wide with disbelief. Hung Nim, what did you do to her? Why is she acting like this? Jinwoo whispered back, equally confused. I have no idea either. But even as the words left his mouth, Jinwoo's thoughts started spinning. Cha Haein is still young, probably around 22 or 23. At such a young age, being an S-rank hunter must come with a lot of pressure. He paused, considering her for a moment before speaking up. All right, but there's one condition. Our guild has an entrance test. Cha Haein raised an eyebrow, looking him squarely in the eye. A test? What kind of test are we talking about here? Jinwoo smirked ever so slightly, his gaze intense. If you can pass the challenge I set, then you can join. Cha Haein stared at him, her sharp eyes piercing through him. You're not underestimating me, are you? Fine, I'll accept. But when does the test start? Jinwoo casually shrugged, unfazed. How about now? Cha Haein nodded without hesitation. All right, let's head to the Hunter Association's training room. She immediately turned toward the door, but before she could open it, Jinwoo stopped her. No need to go through there. Hunter Cha, he said, a small grin playing on his lips. Cha Haein blinked in confusion. Huh? Why not? Instead of answering, Jinwoo reached out and grabbed her hand. Before Cha Haein could react, shadows swirled around them, and in an instant, they vanished from the spot. Cha Haein's face flushed as she realized just how close she'd been to Jinwoo during that brief moment. The black aura that enveloped them was thick and heavy, and almost instantly, they appeared in the Hunter Association's training room. Cha Haein, still reeling from the sudden change, looked around, startled. What? How did you bring me here? Hunter Sung. Jinwoo gave a slight smile. I'll explain later. For now, let's begin the test. Cha Haein hesitated, her face a little pale. But I don't have my weapon with me right now. Jinwoo raised an eyebrow and smirked. HM, are you talking about that hoe, Hunter Cha? The moment she heard the word hoe, Cha Haein's face instantly turned crimson. That's not my weapon, Hunter Sung. She quickly corrected him, clearly embarrassed. Don't worry. There should be some spare weapons in the training storage. Without waiting another second, Cha Haein rushed to the armory and returned moments later, a sword in hand. All right, I'm ready. Jinwoo eyed her, silently impressed by her determination. He muttered under his breath. She really means it. He took a deep breath and raised his hand, his voice calm but commanding. Igris, come out. From the swirling shadows, a knight emerged, clad in gleaming black armor. A powerful aura radiated from him, instantly making the atmosphere in the room feel heavier. This is my strongest shadow soldier, Jinwoo explained, his voice steady as ever. Cha Haein studied Igris closely, her curiosity piqued. All right, Hunter Sung, but what are the rules of this test? Jinwoo explained briefly, his tone neutral but with a hint of challenge. The rules are simple. Defeat my summon and you pass. If you surrender, you lose. In his mind, Jinwoo thought to himself, I actually wanted to use Bu, but that might be too dangerous for this test. He turned back to Cha Haein and smiled. All right, let's begin. Immediately, Cha Haein activated her aura, a golden energy surrounding her body, lighting up the room with its intensity. But just before the battle could truly begin, Jinwoo raised his hand. Wait a moment. Cha Haein frowned, clearly a little confused. HM, what is it? Jinwoo turned to Igris, handing him a black sword with sharp, menacing engravings. Use this. It was the Demon King's longsword, the weapon of Demon King Baron. With a smooth motion, Igris accepted the sword, now standing ready for battle. Cha Haein narrowed her eyes, her stance growing more focused. Let's see what you've got, Hunter Sung. Without another word, Igris swung the sword in a single, fluid motion. A surge of lightning shot out from the blade, crashing into the training room floor with an explosive impact, sending cracks spreading across the ground. Cha Haein, displaying remarkable agility, leaped back just in time, dodging the attack with ease. Jinwoo, watching from a distance, couldn't help but nod in admiration. As expected, Hunter Cha is truly extraordinary. A normal person would have died from that attack. At the same time, Cha Haein launched a counterattack, her sword aimed straight at Igris. Igris, with impeccable reflexes, raised his sword and blocked the attack. Meanwhile, far away, the association chairman, Gohei, sat in his office, suddenly feeling a shift. He turned his attention toward the training room, his gaze narrowing. Someone's using the training room, he muttered to himself. Curious, he pulled up the CCTV feed and watched a fierce battle between Jinwoo and Cha Haein unfold. When did they get here? Chairman Gohei thought, eyes glued to the screen. As he observed the scene, he recalled the strange way Cha Haein always acted around Hunter Sung, especially when she spoke about him. How interesting. It seems Hunter Cha really is feeling for him. Back in the training room, the vibrations from the escalating battle were starting to reverberate all the way to Gohei's office. And soon, the fight reached its explosive climax. When Jinwoo entered the training room, he was greeted by an unexpected sight. Cha Haein stood, sword in hand, while Igris had been defeated. Jinwoo's eyes widened in disbelief. Huh? Igris lost. Chahain looked at him, a smirk playing on her lips. Are you sure that knight was your strongest soldier, Hunter Sung? She challenged. Didn't you say you would summon your strongest shadow? Jinwoo's expression hardened. He hesitated, then spoke seriously. If I summon him, you'd get hurt. Chahain didn't flinch. With unwavering determination, she stared Jinwoo down. I don't care. I just want to fight him. Her fists clenched, her eyes locked with his, full of conviction. I've seen the recordings. That one, he's become your shadow, hasn't he? Jinwoo was silent for a moment before letting out a long breath. All right, if that's what you want. Without hesitation, he called out, Bu, come out. From the trembling shadows, Bu emerged, his presence filling the room with an overwhelming, terrifying aura. Jinwoo turned to Chahain one last time, his voice calm but serious. I'll ask you again, are you really sure you want to do this? In his mind, Jinwoo thought, after becoming my shadow soldier, Bu's power has been slightly diminished, but he was born as a hunter-killing weapon. Chahain, though she felt the weight of Bu's power, steeled herself. She suppressed her fear, her resolve only growing stronger. Bu then spoke, his voice laced with respect. My lord, what can I do for you? Jinwoo nodded, giving the order. Defeat her, but do not harm her. Bu responded with a sharp nod. Understood. I will comply. Without a moment's hesitation, Bu released a tremendous surge of power. The energy exploded outward, creating such immense pressure that the lights in the room shattered under force. From a distance, Chahain gritted her teeth, her mind racing. This power, it's unreal. How could Hunter Sung Jin-Woo possibly defeat something like this? Bu raised his hand, revealing claws sharp as razors, each one radiating a menacing energy. But just before he could strike, Jinwoo's voice rang out, stern and commanding. Don't use your claws, Bu, Jinwoo said firmly. If she gets hurt, you'll take full responsibility. Bu's claws lowered in response, and he spoke in a low voice, tinged with surprise. Understood, my lord. I will not use them. On the other side of the room, Chahain focused intensely on Bu. In her mind, she wondered, how vast is the gap in our strength? Before she could contemplate further, something happened. In the blink of an eye, Bu was already right behind her. Her eyes shot open in shock. What? That fast? The fight was about to take a deadly turn, but this time, Chahain wouldn't back down. Yo, the tension? Through the roof. Cha spinning, slashing, and doing her best impression of a one-woman army. But Bu's just chilling like, is that all you got? Now, this next part, it's wild. Cha slashes her sword, giving it all she's got, but Bu just catches it with 3 fingers. I mean, come on. We've all tried to catch stuff with one hand, but 3? Bro's got hands like steel claws. Bu's like, you want to go full beast mode? Okay, I'll show you the gap in our power. Prepare to feel small, girl. Meanwhile, Cha is not giving up. She's got the, I'ma keep hitting you until you break vibe going. She starts swinging, like she's in a sword dance competition. Who needs a rhythm when you got sheer fury, right? But Bu's like, that all you got? Watch me dodge this like I'm at an anime dodgeball tournament. She goes faster, like speed of light fast. But guess what? Bu doesn't even flinch. It's like watching your friend try to show off an arcade game, but they just get wrecked by the high score every time. And then, the big move. The needles of light, a literal shining sword of pure energy. I'm talking shiny, sparkly, magical anime power-up level. And BAM, she stabs Bu. No hesitation, no second thoughts. Bu's like, what? You don't mess with my vibe. But oh boy, hold up. Because here comes a twist. In Bu's head, a little voice goes, time to kill. Oh, Bu's not messing around anymore. The claws come out, he's seeing red, and it's about to go down. And then, just like that, bam, Bu goes full psycho mode. Claws out, ready to make some serious damage. Cha is in danger, but wait, Jinwoo's watching all this like, hey, stop dude. But Bu? Nah, man, he's on a rampage. And guess what? We don't even get to see the outcome. The screen goes black like some cliffhanger BS. What happened? Is she okay? Is Bu a rage monster now? What's next? Only one way to find out. But hey, don't leave me hanging. Smash that subscribe button, hit the like, and turn on those notifications because next time, we're diving deeper into the chaos. And trust me, it's going to be wild.